taking 5 from?
8 from the beginning and
0.
5 from the
8 from the 5 from the bottom. I see that. Where did 8 come from? Solving. Either moving and then right, getting the 8, or getting to one side, common denominator, putting it together and saying, oh hey, an 8, oh hey, a 5. Well, technically, a negative 8 divided by a negative 1, positive 8. What did I do with those numbers? You're just walking me through. What did I do with those numbers? Put them on a number line, which technically is like the x-axis. Put them on a number line. Why was the 8 closed before I did any testing? Because it's or equal to, and when we went to the 0, it's or equal to 0. It's allowed to be the 0 because of the equal to. Good. Why is the 5 open?
We can't move 5.
Why?
Because it's undefined.
It's in the denominator. Remember, discontinuities, vertical asymptotes, poles can't exist, so I need to go ahead and keep it open. What am I doing down here when I have this funny looking table-y thing and I have numbers that don't even match up with the 2 I put in? Choose some before, just 1, right? Don't even measure. Choose 1 before. Why did I choose 0? It was easier to plug in. Choose 1 in between. Choose 1 on the right. What did we not get to finish yesterday? Plugging in. The question. Where are we plugging in?
Either the top equation or the...
Either the top one or an equivalent form. Either the top one or an equivalent form. So, now I plugged in really fast yesterday. So I was trying to get each of them done. I didn't get each of them done. I got one of them done. I plugged in, and it was a little bit hard, but a negative over a negative is a positive. This is 1 2/5. Is 1 2/5 positive or negative, really? Less than or equal to 3. True. So guess what? Wherever 0 is, all of those are solutions. So then what am I going to do next with 6? Plug them in. Plug them in where? I don't know. You guys care which one? Stick with the first one, I guess?
Yeah.
Okay. So then plugging in 6. Can we mental math it? Come on, it's Friday.
Yeah, it's
12 minus 7
5 over 1.
5 over 1 is 5 less than or equal to 3. Now careful, don't do that. Mistakes can happen and then everything goes wrong. But when we're all together, we can check mistakes. Is 5 less than or equal to 3? False. False. That's one way. So then, do I include any of those? None of them. None of them will work. If I plug in 5.1, 7.999, or anything else in between, they're not going to work. 10, plug it in. Come on, mental mathers. 2 times 10 is 20. 20 minus 7 is? Good. All over. 10 minus 5? A lot of us can't think so well in fractions. What is that as a mixed number? 2 and 3/5, not 3. So, true, what am I going to do? Say, hey, sweet, all of those work. Now, take the graph. That's the graph of the solution. That's good. That's one step. How do we write it in interval notation? I'll start it for you. Now what? You're welcome. Go.
Comma.
Not a comma, not yet. Parentheses. Yes. Okay.
Not that far.
No, not yet. Oh, remember, you start on the left.
Negative infinity.
Negative infinity up to 5. Parenthesis or bracket, because it's open. I use a little, if you want to be snazzy, a little u. Bracket, why, Ashley?
Because it's a
Good, it's filled in, so it equals all the way up to? All the way up to infinity. The u just means or. It's a super snazzy way. You can put a little comma. We did that. You can say or. I just said you can, but I guess I'll prove it. Or, okay, done. Now, before we go to another problem, hold on. Do you remember how yesterday we did, and I skipped over that and didn't even show you how about it? Remember how we did this problem after we talked about the steps? And we solved with the exact same procedure, and we got these answers done. I never showed you, because we were running short on time, I never showed you on a graph what this is actually doing. Less than 0, okay, whatever, negative, I guess. That's what this one means. Who is this? It's a function. And it's a function that's a quadratic, and a quadratic has a shape of a what? Parabola. So I'm asking the question, where is the parabola negative? The x's or the y's? I'm asking where the entire thing is negative. Hence, who is the entire thing? Y. So I'm asking basically the question, for this function, f of x equals x squared minus x, where are the parabolas, can I put it like that? Y values negative. Now, you guys see what we got, right? Does the graph on the calculator make sense as to why this part of the parabola is in bold? Between -2 and 3, the parabola goes below, which means the y values are all. That's what it means. That's what we're actually doing. We're trying to figure out when will the y values or the function values be negative. So if you were given a homework, say in homework, you were given a problem in homework, how that work? That says something about you can graph the function on your calculator and look and see where is y greater than 0, where is y less than 0. Aren't you going to find where it hits zeros and then figure out, hey, where is it above? Positive. Where is it below? Negative. Isn't there a cool zero feature in your calculator if you're allowed and even told to use it that you could use? So if there is a calculator problem, you might not have to do the whole process of what I just showed you. You could just graph it and say, for this problem, where is it? Where is the parabola below the x-axis, right? And then similarly, if I go to this problem, couldn't I graph this function and then graph 3? That's kind of hard. Maybe I would subtract the 3 to the other side. I could graph this function with the 3 subtracted and say, where is it less than or equal to 0? Or I could graph this function, graph y equals 3, and say, hey, where is this function below 3? I could find my intersections, and that would be like my zeros of the other. Anyway, that's what's going on. Graph, oh hey, why am I telling you all this? What's the next example telling me to do? Graph the function and try to just use the calculator to answer the question, where is this function, where are the y's, less than or equal to 0? And the way I would describe that is below the x-axis. Take a second, without making a table or finding key numbers or any of that, by hand, graph the function and try to think if you can answer from the graph in your calculator. Not even making me complete the square. What? They're dead. Where it would be less than 0. That, I think, are the places where it is 0. So how would you explain where it's below 0? It's going to be lots of numbers, not just 2. You have to write the intervals, yeah. You have to write the intervals. If it helps, only if it helps, you could think of just the x-axis like our number line. And you could think of the zeros that you see. And you could ask yourself, in between or outside? And then try to write the answer. We give everybody a couple more seconds. I've heard -1 and 3 are important numbers, so I'm just going to go ahead and put them in, but I'm not exactly sure. And the graph I'm seeing, double check. Does it look like -1 and 3 are pretty important? Is it upward parabola or downwards? Downwards. How many zeros does it have? Where are the 2? According to the inequality, am I allowed to be at -1 and at 3? Yes, because the inequality is or equal to. So if I was doing a sign chart, I would fill in. But wait, I told you guys just to look at the graph. Okay, so if I look at the graph, what am I answering? Which branches of the graph have y's less than or equal to 0? Well, -1 is one place, but don't I have more than -1 and 3? Where does it go? Below. All of that and for all of that, true? That's a great picture and all, but to answer this, we need one of those snazzy interval notation things with x's within. So if I start off with x's within, from that picture, how would you guys describe the answer then? From negative infinity, because it's going to keep on being below for forever, right? All the way up until negative 1, because it can equal negative 1. What's that snazzy symbol I showed you all? U or the comma, or you say the word or, like I proved. What comes next? Good. So if we had done it the other way, we would have gotten this and we would have gotten that. If we had done all the work. But we can also look at the graph and say, oh, hey, what are you below? Sweet, there we go. If you're allowed to use a calculator.
Why is it negative?
Over here. Because remember, even though the graph is going down, that's what the y's are doing, when I'm talking about the x's, right? When I'm talking about the x's, it's as x goes to positive infinity. So we're not describing in those intervals what y is doing. We're describing for which x's from negative infinity and x's to positive infinity, make this condition true. How is this in this homework? There's no inequality. Do you guys see an inequality? Absolutely. Why? Why would they be asking for domain? We have it under a, help them out, come on. What is this? A square root. When you have it under a square root,
Radical.
it's greater than radical, nice. It's greater than or equal to 0. Wait, what? Domain problem. When you have a function under an even-powered radical, or even-powered root, the argument has to be, oh, well that's just mean, right? There's no inequality to start with. You have to think, oh, it's a square root function. Oh, hey, the bottom, what's inside, has to be greater than or equal to 0. How'd that happen? From back when we talked about domain. Denominators can't be 0. Arguments inside square roots have to be positive, or else they're imaginary. So we have to use what we know, struggle, and say, something special about a square root? Oh yeah, arguments have to be greater than or equal to. Sneaky little devil, they threw it in there, right? Right? Yeah, that's why I'm doing an example. So, putting together what we know, domain problem. What's underneath has to be greater than or equal to 0. How would we solve? What? I have key numbers written. What are we doing? Factoring. So we can make this into x plus 2 times x minus 2 greater than or equal to 0. What are my key numbers then? X equals plus or minus 2. Where am I going to put them? I guess I had to tell you the answer before. In a number line. Okay. Negative 2, positive 2. Now what? Open or closed? Closed because allowed to equal. Now what? Chart. And I plug in plus or minus 2, right?
No.
No, good. Before middle. What's something before? Sounds good. Middle?
0.
Ooh, that's easy to plug in. After? Sure. Now, we have some choices as to where we could plug it in. We could plug it into the inequality, or we could just plug it in the root and say, hey, are you real? Root, okay. So plugging in negative 3. Negative 3 squared is 9. 9 minus 4 is 5. Is that real?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's ugly, but he's real. So sweet, true.
Jeez.
Yeah, kind of smacky. You're back.
Plugging
in.
Okay, that was false. She's false.
Okay, plugging in. Square root of. What's 0 minus 4?
She's definitely false.
Yeah, definitely false. That's imaginary, right? So that's a false. And then plugging in 3, most of you are like, hey, I think it's going to work. 3 squared is 9. 9 minus 4 is 5. So what does that mean? Those are good. Those are good. Middle? Nope. So how do we write the solution? Our domain is going to be, all right, come on. Parentheses. Up to, with everybody, come on. Bracket, good. Snazzy you. No, I'm just going. Sorry, I just kept going. It's having too much fun. Okay. Yeah, right? They gave you a tricky problem, but you can do it. There's not even an inequality, but you're amazing and you'll think square root, oh, argument greater than or equal to 0. I'm not saying you would have thought that today in class. Some of you were still kind of like, wait, what? Right? All right, so domain, we're done. Domain, we're done. Is that okay? Not bad. If we follow the system, will we be okay? No?
Yes.
Hopefully, yes. Okay, we're almost done. And guess what? There's no example for this. There's no example. It's more of just a business thing. There's no finance one. It's up to you. If it's like common knowledge, you're like, oh yeah, of course profit is revenue minus cost. I'm just saying it might show up somewhere. Okay, business is not necessarily common sense for everybody. It's called credit card debt. Think about it. Okay, come back. People spending with money that's not theirs. You would think that's common sense. Anyway.
We're still
Talking about credit cards and spending money that isn't really money that you don't really have. Coming back. Okay, personal finance is actually very high. Okay, clue words for inequalities. This is different. We're real quick. If you do see something having to do with business, profit does equal revenue minus cost. What comes in, you have to subtract what goes out. If what goes out is more than what comes in, okay, that's how this all relates. If what goes out, if what you're spending is more than what you're making, you're going to be in debt. So you're supposed to avoid that. Okay, move on. Nice lesson. Clue words for inequalities. What are some things you might see, and then what do they mean? Hold on, let me write the things you might see. There are some tricky ones, and you guys might not realize it, but you've probably been tricked at some point in your math career. Maybe when you were itty bitty, but still they're a little bit tricky. I'll just say no then. Some of these are easy, some of these are hard. If I say at most, a quantity is at most, what inequality should I be putting in that spot?
No less than or equal to.
See, it's tricky. You see most, and you're like, oh, it's a great. At most, it's capped here, and it needs to be less than that. At least, it's capped here, and it's allowed to be, I know, right? Our brain just does the wrong thing. At least greater than or equal to. Oh, you guys are the next one. I thought you were saying that was less than.
Equal.
Less than, sweet. More than, sweet. There could be. But these are the two trickiest, I think. So I thought we should go. Hey guys, we're done.
Yay.
And we have more than 15 minutes.
Is that actually 15 minutes?
Now wait, pause. Pause. I'm going to put the homework assignment on the board for section 2.7. Some of you guys haven't started on it yet. You got your spiral, open your spiral, write it down. I do have a few extra books, but wait. What did I say is probably a good thing to do in class with all of us around you, myself included, to help with your questions? I would say quiz corrections might be the best place to start working. So let me put the assignment up for you guys to write it down.
So test review is not optional, right?
Test review is not optional, it's an assignment.
You do that.
Remember the corrections, not a form. It's a color other than pencil, if that makes sense, or blue, something else, some other color on the quiz itself, and if you don't have room, just go to the back of the quiz and you can correct it there.
Can I not do it?
Let's do it.
You can do red, just not blue, and not the colors that are on it, not blue and not blue. The other good ones, to be honest, kiddos, this was from last year. I think I crammed this in. They didn't have near as much time as you guys. The other good ones, you should do them because otherwise you won't practice the last few sections we've been working on. But since we've been working really hard on these, I'll make required the old ones that aren't fresh in your mind. And how about I make these ones bonus? Sound good? Right, more inclined to do this. Anybody not using this time productively? Push you in a corner. As long as it doesn't match the blue of my pen or the pencil that you use. Hold on. Perfect, you got one.
So do I accept like correct that?
Yeah. Nice. Yes, you may. Go ahead. If you guys need to borrow a book, you're done with your corrections, go on up and grab one. I don't mind. If I see Brandon activate, I'm gonna.
Ooh. I like this.
I know, I saw this after rescue was just. Yeah, we saw it too.
Should I rip this silk?
Unless it helps.
Is it a guy or a girl?
Are you saying he?
Is she a guy or is she a man?
Wait, can you go ahead? I know she did that. I'm erasing the board. If there's like a common question, like your entire group is like, yeah, we don't know how to do this problem, let me know. I'll do it on the board. For the quiz corrections.
Okay, buddy.
Erase the board first. Then I'll...